Here we go. We have gone live. I also need to publish this post. Completely forgot to do that. Cool. Now you're getting a taste of that secret sauce.
Secret sauce.
Let me preview changes. Let me just hear that the audio is fine. There we go.
That's good.
Audio is fine. Everything is fine. Infinite possibilities. Yeah, let's get it. There you go. All right. So in your absence, I got a chance to listen to what I was talking about. To just make amendments. I was talking about the first camera that was digitized. It was in 1975, 0.01 megapixel. It wrote to tape, and here it is. It's a Kodak camera, and the guy who created the first digital one
is Bear Rich now.
No, funny enough,
is he not?
So when he did the patent for it, Kodak, because Kodak was a film company, and most companies being the way they are, they were being
Kodak or Kodak.
Kodak. Like the film company Kodak.
Yeah. My grandfather used to work for Kodak.
Yes, he did. That's awesome. That is true. That's true. I remember he was telling us about his travels. Yes. So yeah, they were a film company first and foremost, and they were like afraid that having a digital camera would take away sales from the film, and that film being their biggest market, they were afraid of like changing, like most companies are like.
Yeah.
But by not adopting the change, Kodak is dead.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they didn't adopt the change, and when they did adopt the change, it's too late. So Kodak doesn't do camera stuff anymore. But it's really cool. So like another thing, well, quote unquote fun fact. I find these facts really fun. The reason why this thing's blue is because the metal that was on, like as they were doing the engineering stuff, they would touch it, and it had a lot of fingerprints, and the only color that he had. So did it blue.
It's like, fuck it, let's go with blue then.
Yep. That's awesome. That's my favorite thing. And then the other thing I was talking about was the cornea. I try to say like the cone at the back of your eye in different colors. I just wanted to give you the visual representation of like how irrelevant green is. Like you got the blue being like this massive wave on its own, red being its own thing. Green is just this.
Green is like trying to chill with red, and red's like, nah, I don't need you, fam.
Yeah. Red is more like you're a seasonal friend.
Oh, seasonal friend, Jesus Christ. What's that? We're just moving into August? Right, let's bring in green.
Man, I see you once a year. Like every Thanksgiving, that's when I'm seeing you. Otherwise, I don't need you, man.
I don't need you.
Yeah,
you need me, man. I don't need you.
You need me, man. I don't need. So that's that. That's that. Sorry, I just got a chat and it confused me.
It's like, hey, back the fuck off, bro.
Yes,
school's in session.
Before we left off, for that break.
Oh, this is perfect. I was just gonna ask you to bring this back up.
Okay. So do you have any questions?
No, I wanted to get this down because this is going to be really helpful to remember.
Yes. I'm going to go through it again because I watched over it, and so I think ISO I covered quite well, okay-ish, as well as I can in a short amount of time, because literally I need an hour for each, but I'm trying to condense it as much as I can. I need more than an hour because I can talk about these things forever.
Forever.
I talked about a 1975 camera for like 10 minutes of this.
You've watched Big Bang Theory, right?
Yes.
Have you seen that one where Sheldon or Penny asked Sheldon to teach her math? This is exactly how it's gone in the same way.
I've never seen that
during Egyptian times.
Yeah, no, honestly, I don't know, because like I think for me, you can never tell, you can never know what someone is gonna find interest in, especially with something like photography, because like some people like photography for the art of it. I'm more inclined to the science and the math side of things than the art side. But over the more recent years, I've dipped into the art side more than the math and science bit. But like I kind of fluctuate between the three.
Oh yeah.
Most people just tend to find one camp and stick to it, but I kind of like everything. So I like.
I hate campers.
That was the quick wit is too much for me. I can't handle. Anyway, ISO. Sorry, ISO.
ISO.
Yeah, ISO. Greek mythology, manipulating photons. Aperture was what I was trying to explain, but wasn't doing too well.
Right.
I wasn't doing too good of a job, in my opinion. So back to this.
Oh, bring back that triangle.
All you need is ISO, aperture, shutter speed.
Write it down. Aperture, shutter speed.
The things on the side, these are mine. These are my little caveats.
Yeah, but they will help me.
Oh, they do. Okay, if they do, they do.
Well, yeah, because like you can easily go to someone and go ISO, aperture, shutter speed. When you're in the camera, they could then go, well, what does the ISO do? What does the aperture do? What does the shutter speed do?
Yeah.
So it's good to kind of remember it.
Yeah. Photons, light, and time. Aperture is definitely for me. So ISO is the hardest concept of all of them. Aperture is the hardest to explain without practical use. And shutter speed for me is super easy because I'm a time lord.
Wow. Not to blow your own trumpet or anything.
Yeah. I gotta blow my own.
I don't know what you do in your spare time. Let's get back to cameras.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so other caveat that I had, I wrote down. Where's my book? My book. I put it to the. Why did
Your book.
Okay, so I've made the addendum to the first thing. Oh yes, I was talking about this. Right, this we got to this point, and I completely forgot to. Like you said something, and then I got thrown off my A game.
Hit you with a curveball.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so there's this. We never talked about this. You have this on the camera as well. There's this, and then I need to go back to this because I didn't completely tell you why this exists on this lens. Okay, so this thing. There's a bulb at the front of the camera. This bulb is literally to help the lens focus. So it sends a light to the target, like a short beam of light. Whenever you're in a dark room.
I kind of already.
You've seen it before, right?
It's like the light's hitting it, so the camera is then focusing on where that light is and will adjust to where the light is.
Yeah, that's for when you're in a dark room. So this is focus helper. Let's call it focus helper light. This is bracketing. Bracketing is a very, very complicated concept. So I'm gonna skip it for today. Unless I finish the trilogy. If I can finish that on time and a reasonable time, then I'll explain what bracketing is. Otherwise, it might be something for another time.
Okay.
So I was talking about the connection between these two and why this lens has a manual focus. You have the camera with you, right?
Yeah.
So this thing is called a focus dial. I know focus ring. Focus.
Yeah, that's the smaller ring on this camera.
Yeah. There's only that camera has only one ring, right?
No, it has two.
Do both of them spin?
Yeah. The one of them is like to obviously zoom in and out, and the other one is to focus.
Oh yeah. So this is a zoom ring. Okay. Some cameras have 3 rings. Okay.
Oh wow.
So sorry, not cameras, lenses. Um,
Zune.
Zoo.
The Zune ring.
This is me dozing off. No, it looks like a booty.
The Zoo booty.
Yeah, it's a booty. The focus ring is to focus, and some focus rings are really complicated. So for this type of lens, the focus ring just goes all the way around, right? You can spin it one way and it lock. I think it locks on if you go one way to a point, right?
It doesn't like lock, but it stops.
It stops. Yeah, that's what I technically calling it as lock.
Okay.
And then on the other side, it stops as well.
Yeah, it'll only go like if I was to put my finger on it, it'll go just about a quarter, just over a quarter, really.
So when you look through the viewfinder, you can see that as you focus, you're focusing on elements that are close to you, and then as you spin the other way, it focuses on elements that are far from you.
Yeah. Because I've got my laptop right in front of my screen, I can literally just twist it very slightly, and then the laptop becomes more focused than the other.
Yeah, so that is focusing. I didn't mention focusing. So the reason why this has a MAM on the lens is all right. So when you half press it, the shutter to focus, try spinning the ring.
So when I'm pushing the button to focus it,
yeah.
Try spinning. Yeah, it's still. I can still kind of like blur it and stuff.
Oh, so when you half press it, you can still spin the ring. Like so the Pentax. Okay, so the Pentax is special in that way. Then, does that camera have? Does that lens have this MAM dial on it?
MAM dial. No, it's just got the two. It's got the zoom and the focus ring.
Okay, so for most cameras, the Pentax is a special beast by the looks of it. But actually, that lens is special in the sense that lenses that don't have this kind of autofocus, manual autofocus or manual only, if you immediately you put it on autofocus, you can't turn that focus dial. You cannot turn it.
Hang on, if I put on autofocus, maybe I can. Oh, you mean the switch on the actual lens?
Yes.
Okay.
Was
not
that
on the camera?
Oh, I mean, both of them. Like it's a symbiotic relationship. If you put it on autofocus, right? If you put it on autofocus, you shouldn't be able to turn the focus ring. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's locked it.
Yes. With this lens, because it's MA, you even if you put it on autofocus, you can turn that ring. And the advantage of that is when you're shooting video.
Okay, because I'm half pressing it now, and it will like adjust itself now.
Exactly, that's autofocus. So I've always had it on autofocus because it's harder to manual focus. There's a lot of photography snobs that will be like, I manual focus everything, but
but those are people that have probably like done it for so many years, a professional, know just the right way and stuff like that.
Not even for professionals, but the thing is like cameras do such a good job of autofocusing that I see the only points where I do manual focusing is when it's dark and it can't focus at all. When I want to control the depth of field. The depth of field is something I didn't come into, and because I was supposed to come into straight after this, right? So depth of field. So I've picked a list of photos that I've taken to give you a practical example, right? So this is an example of photo that has a shallow depth of field. Shallow depth of field meaning that
whatever's closest to it, it will focus on that.
Yeah, and everything else is like out of focus. It's the finger example. When you put your finger in front of your finger, like when you look in the distance, you see the background, but you don't see the details.
Because you can tell from the picture how shallow it is because it's a lens. It's obviously not that far, but it still only focuses pretty much directly in front of it.
Yeah, so that's the shallow depth of field, right?
Mm-hmm.
Also, look at the photo itself. If you look at the corners, right, you can see the noise. So you can see that
Yeah.
this was shot as ISO 600. So now, like when you look at the photos on Flickr, like you can look at like the settings that the photos were taken at. So taken at a shutter speed of 1/2000 of a second, f8 to allow for the shallow depth of field, and ISO 6400. So the picture itself then has a lot of noise because of the high ISO, but because of the wide aperture, everything be like that isn't the thing that you're trying to focus on. Is blurred out.
Yeah,
because that's depth of field. So I can close this one. This is a regular depth of field where you can see that the person is in focus, and things are also like sort of in
within its vicinity.
Yeah,
it's in focus.
So like that's what depth of field is. You see it a lot in video games where like when you're close to something, when your character's close to something, the things are blurred out. Like when you move the camera close to them, the things are blurred out. Horizon Zero Dawn is actually the best at illustrating this in terms of video games, where like you can get close to things and then it'll be like you'll focus directly on the thing that's in front of you, or if you look in the distance, you'll have a lot more information. So that's depth of field. I needed just to get that out of the way.
Yeah.
And depth of field is affected by your lenses. And here's where the lenses stuff comes in. I'll come back to aperture after the lenses, and I built this for you. This is for you.
Good old fucking Optimus.
Yep. So
probably taking a selfie in the mirror.
Where did they go? Okay, let me just close it. Move this up.
Oh fuck.
Come on. Right. So I'm gonna take off Optimus for a second.
Bye, Optimus.
And I will go to the focal length. We've discussed depth of field, which is like blurriness of an object. And then this is now the focal length. You have the 24. You have your lens was what 18 to 50.
18 to 55, yeah.
18 to 55. That is the focal length. And with the focal length, you can derive two types of lenses. Right? You got wide angle lenses and telephoto lens. So
you have the wide angle, don't you?
I have both. No, you have both. I have everything.
Yeah, I remember because the perv lens, as we called it, is the telephocal one, right?
Yeah. So there's two lenses. Two lens types. Wide angle and telephoto. There's two. So these are the two types of lenses. And within those, there's other things, right? So let's take a flowchart, right? To derive whether something is wide angle or telephoto. Let's take a lens. There's lens X, right? The first question we ask is how many numbers? How many numbers on the focal length? So if lens X has if it has, in your case, 15 to
18.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
18
to
55 millimeters. And let's say there's another lens that we have that is a, I don't know, let's call it a.
I was gonna say, should I just get the other lens that I've got and give you those numbers?
No. I just need a. Let's say it's a
55 to 300. I've got on the other one.
Yeah, that's too far.
It's too far.
It's too
Too
far.
long. Too long. No, too long.
Both of them are telephoto lenses.
Oh, they both are.
Yeah.
Oh, you're on about ones for a wide angle, which
I'll
shorter. It'd be
tell,
much shorter, right?
I'll tell you. So the thing that dictates what a wide angle lens is the focal distance. And if you remember, if the focal distance is the distance between the sensor and the lens, the optics of the lens. That's the focal distance. So, like in your case, let's try to figure out. So if it has, if it, in your case, like there's two options we can have. If it has one number, let's say ahead of 35 millimeters, right? And in your case, it's 18 to 55. So if it's 1 or 2, if it has two numbers on it, this is what is called a zoom lens.
1 or 2 numbers.
So if it has like a range,
okay,
it's called a zoom lens because it allows you to change the focal length. You can either be from 18 to 55. That's your focal length. However, if it has one focal length, then it's called a prime lens, which is why I have my good old Optimus Prime.
Oh shit!
So this one's a 24 to 58, 85. Dyslexia. Don't worry about it. This is a zoom lens. This is a 50 millimeter. This is a prime lens, and I'll go into like the benefits and downsides of each. But you've used them, so you know. Like you remember like when we were in Tokyo, I have the lens where like you couldn't zoom in.
Yeah, it was like a stubbier lens.
Yeah. So a fixed lens doesn't have to be short. I just like the shorter fixed lens tend to be cheaper and lighter, which is why I like them. But you can have a really long fixed lens, which is a fixed lens has one. So this is fixed.
Yeah, fixed, which is a prime lens.
Yeah, they call this Optimus Prime.
I think they just call it Prime, but we'll go with Optimus Prime.
Oh yeah, Optimus Prime. Yeah. Goddamn nerd.
What a loser.
So the next thing is how many numbers that are a ratio.
Oh, I just put a range of numbers.
The lens, which is like 1:3.5 to 5.6.
Oh, that's on the inside of the lens.
And yeah, it could be literally could be anywhere on the lens, depending on the maker. This is called the maximum. Also, I need to get rid of the layers. Maximum aperture, right? Then, it's possible. So yeah, the numbers that are the ratio on the lens. So like 1 colon something. If it has one number, if it has one number, like let's say f 2.8, right? That's called a fixed aperture. Aperture. All primes are fixed apertures. And if it has two numbers, which yours does, which is f 3.5, 5.6.
Yeah, 1 colon 3.5.
1,
5.6.
2. This is called a variable aperture.
Which essentially means that it can zoom in and out.
No, the aperture is the size of the hole.
Okay.
So the first number, the 18 to 55, is the zoom. The second number, if it has one colon, yeah, there's a lot of numbers. If it has one colon and then effectively these will never have a decimal point. These numbers, if it has a decimal point, it's the f-stop, and then I'll come into the f-stop later. That's the ratio over focal length, which is the size of. So that number is the aperture. That's the amount of the size that the lens itself can open. Now, if no, actually, we can leave it as that. This is simple enough, right?
Yeah. I just need to get this all down then.
Okay, so we can start from the beginning. Like, I should have had this chart written up beforehand. But I kind of like the idea of going through it. So let's say you have lens X. Like, you want to figure out whether it's a telephoto or wide angle, right? Figured out whether it's a wide angle or not. So if it's under 35 millimeters, like if this is the length, under 35, under, it's a wide angle. Like if
under 35,
if the maximum length of the telephoto, the maximum length of the thing is under 35, it's a wide angle.
So it's not 35 and under. It has to be under
35 and under.
Okay, 35 and under. All right.
Yeah. If it's over 35, and this is the focal distance, by the way.
The focal, yeah.
The focal distance will get convoluted as we bring in sensor sizes. It gets complicated. It gets really messy. It's over 35. It's a telephoto. And since your maximum here is over 35,
it is a telephoto.
However, this is where the caveat comes in. On your lens, when it goes to 35 and under, it has the properties of a wide angle.
So wait, 35.
It's a telephoto lens, but when you start to move towards the 35 and under, it has the properties of a wide angle.
Okay, so so if 35 is like that mid-range and it can go below and over, it has properties of both.
Properties, but like this is like a caveat on this. It really depends on the lens.
Okay.
It really.
No, I kind of get the gist of it. It's essentially saying it's a jack of all trades, a master of none.
So actually, we can go further than this, to make sure we know whether it's a telephoto, because like you have well, technically the caveat here is actually there's three types. You have wide angle, normal, and telephoto.
Oh my god, a third one has joined the fight.
Yeah, let's say normal joins in, right? This is the caveat. Let's go further then. Okay.
Side note. Oh yeah, carry on.
The range. So we can say if it's less than 35. Wide angle, right? If largest number is greater than 55, telephoto. This is what to introduce a third one. If it's 55 equals to 55, normal. That actually makes everything clearer. So if you follow the chain, right, you have an 18 to 55, and you have what's the other one?
What was it? 55. Oh, the other one that I have.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck me. 55 to 300.
55 to 300. Okay.
So that's a wide angle, right?
All right, let's figure it out. So, how many numbers?
Well, no, because it's how many numbers?
Yeah.
In total, or whatever. In total, it has 5.
In the focal length.
55, 70, 100, 200, 300.
No, as in like the range, like.
Yeah, so 2.
Yeah, so 2. It has 2, so it's there. So we know it's a zoom lens. Are there numbers? Are there multiple numbers on the ratio? The front of
no, it has the 1:4 to 5.8.
So technically, it has 2 numbers. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a variable aperture.
Mm-hmm.
Is the range great? Is the largest number greater than 55?
The largest number.
Yes. In
the
largest number on the focal length. Let's just say
much. Yeah, it's much higher.
So that's a telephoto lens.
Yep.
Okay. I should really clean this chart up. Do it properly.
I mean, it's good to have though, because I can still like follow the graph around and go, okay, so it does this, this.
Yeah, let's like I said, let me just clean it. Let's clean it up. Let's do this again. You know, it'll be easier if I just take a picture and then. Okay, so let's do this again. So there are 3 types of lenses: normal, telephoto, and wide angle. Right? We got this so far, so good. Looking clean, looking oishi. We have lens X, and we want to figure out what type. So lens X. The first question we ask is,
how many numbers on the focal length?
Yep. How many numbers on the focal length? i.e. the numbers indicated on the side. Is it on the side of the lens? On yours?
The focal.
Yeah.
The focal length. Oh, the thing. On the shorter one, it's on like the front. On the longer one, it's on the side.
Okay, on the side.
So I mean, it doesn't matter.
Or
like, I can find where it is.
or the minimum the minimum and maximum two numbers on the dial. That's clearer, right? So regardless of how many numbers there are on the dial, you just take the minimum number and the maximum.
Yeah, it's look where it says the colon and those two numbers.
That's
so 35 to 5.6. I get it now.
Wait, no, that's the other thing. Is it again the other thing? Okay, hold on.
Oh yeah. The minimum, maximum numbers on the dials. Yeah, yeah. Okay. I was writing the stuff down, so I was kind of half in and out.
I.e., 18, 25, 55. These two. That will make it clearer. That's the focal length. So the next bit is you want to figure out are there many numbers on the focal length? Are there actually? You know what? Are there many? So if yes,
I need.
I'm supposed to
use a laptop as a table.
Yes, no. If the answer, oh shit, no, yes. There's so much for cleaning this up.
It's just getting cluttered again.
If no is the answer, if there's, are there many numbers on the focal length? No, which means there's one. Then, i.e., 55 millimeters, and in this case, 18 millimeters to 55 millimeters, even though 55 millimeters doesn't exist, 50 millimeters does. This is what is this is a prime. And this is a zoom. And does the ratio have a range? That's a better question. Does the ratio have a range? I.e., so no, it looks like 1:2.0, and then this one looks like 1:3.5 to 5.6. Then this is a variable aperture. Oops. Aperture, and this has it should be leading into a box here. Sorry, fixed aperture. You with me up in this? This is what?
Yeah, I'm copying stuff down.
Yeah, I know. It's supposed to be
because I started one of them, then I made a mistake. Started another one, then there were changes being made, and I was like, nah, fuck that. Next one.
Okay, so let's start from the beginning. You got Lens X.
Mm-hmm.
Are there many numbers on the focal length?
Yeah, I put, is there more than one number on the focal length?
Okay, that's perfect. Because I didn't know how to phrase this question. So no, i.e., 50 millimeters. Then it's a prime. If it's 18 to 55 millimeters, it's a zoom. And then does the ratio have a range? If it's 1:3.5 to 5.6, it's a variable aperture. But if it's 1:2.0, for example, then it's a fixed aperture. So far, so good. So like, when I say it out loud, it doesn't seem as jumbled as it was before. What is...
Okay, so a zoom lens can have no ratio, or it has no range in the ratio.
Yes,
and it can and can't. Okay.
It absolutely can just have like 2.0 rather than 3.5.
Okay, I get you.
5.6.
I'm getting it
now. What is the largest focal length? If it's less than 35, this is wide angle lens. If it's greater than, it's just less than or equal to, greater than or equal to 55. No, greater than 55. Sorry, my bad. That is a telephoto. Technically, that should be 45. No, 30. Let's say 35 because I haven't seen a 45. I haven't seen a 45 length lens in years. Like a 45, nope. And if it's equals to 55, normal.
So where does the zoom with the range and ratio fall under?
The zoom with the range. Okay, so
like on the right hand side of the graph, where does that one fall under?
Let's go. Yeah, we can go through it. Give me the focal length.
55, 18 to 55.
18 to 55, and give me the aperture.
3.5 to 5.6.
All right, 3.5 to 5.6. Okay, let's go through it. There's multiple numbers on the focal length, so it sits here.
Yeah.
So it's a zoom lens. It has a range. Sorry, this line should go in here as well.
Okay, that was my confusion. Like, where does this one fall under?
Yeah. So variable aperture. Yes, it's a good thing that we went through that, because then I can fix the holes in my logic here. The variable aperture, because it's a 55, it's a normal lens, and we can do the same for the other one. So if you could take me through the other one, so we can deduce if this method works.
Okay. So do you want to go through the other one now as well, or we're going over it after?
Yeah, no, you go for it. Go through it with me.
The other one is 55 to 300.
Okay. So is it a prime or a zoom?
It's a zoom.
Okay.
Then it's a 4 to 5.8.
Yeah.
So it's a variable aperture.
Yeah.
And what is the...
what type of lens is it?
Okay. I'm getting it now.
You got it, right? So now, this is a fixation. I have a 35 millimeter lens, and it's f1.8. What type of lens is it?
35 and 1.8.
Yeah.
35 prime. Well, this one has... okay. So if it has a fixed focal length, then it will have a fixed range and ratio, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's...
Wait, does it necessarily have to have that?
I mean, that's what I'm asking.
Okay, so what's your question? Repeat it again. Sorry.
So like I'm looking at it now. So 35 1.8 prime.
Yep.
It's a wide angle lens. But say if I was to veer off, like when it goes to zoom, it says, does it have a ratio, or does the ratio have a range?
Yeah.
I'm guessing the answer, or the question doesn't apply to the left-hand side because it has a fixed focal length, so it won't have a range and ratio.
Primes will never have a range.
Okay, so yeah, it's a wide-angle lens.
Yeah, it's a wide angle
prime lens with a prime wide-angle lens.
You can now literally any lens in the world, you can figure out whether it's normal, wide angle, or telephoto.
Okay, I get it now.
Okay, fantastic.
Just leave this. I want to jot it down still.
Okay,
so
cool.
like just keep running through things with me while I'm writing. I'll be listening.
Okay, so with wide angle lens, there's more of them. Right? I've only talked about prime lenses. There's more types of wide angle lenses. And oh, you still jotting this down?
Yeah. Just I mean, like keep like just to run like things into deeper context with this stuff while I do that if you want.
So yeah, the important thing to remember is focal length, and the focal length, even though like it's hard like now like when I think back at it, like I'm like, oh man, like understanding focal length and aperture, like what's the difference? The difference is focal length is a number that it's a whole number. It will never be a ratio. The aperture is almost always a number that has a decimal point. And if it doesn't have a decimal point, it is usually on the lens itself has 1 something. That's how you know that's the aperture, because the aperture is the ratio of the focal length. That one number, the one number that sits before it is the focal length. Like that is the 100% focal length. So you have 1:20, which is a ratio, which is effectively 1/2. Or in your case, it's 1/3.5 or 1/5.6. But no one says 1/anything anymore. The 1 is there for historical reasons. We call this the f-stop. It's the f being focal length, and we just say f2.0, f3.5, f5.6, f whatever. That is what we call it now, and I'll go into detail on that after you finish jotting things down.
Yeah, I'm nearly done now.
Okay, cool. And I'll repeat everything I just said, because like obviously when you're jotting things down, it's hard to retain things. So yeah,
because you're like doing different bits of information here, there, and everywhere.
Exactly. But yeah, that's this chart is like, you know, I'm gonna make a better chart of this.
I mean, you should see mine. Mine's actually, it's good that I can see it like this.
Yeah.
Because I can jot it down, but I can put it neater.
Yeah. Because like I'm free-forming this chart. This was like, I was like, oh, this is a good idea to do. And then when I started doing it, I was like, I should have just spoken it. But then when you speak it, it's hard to visualize what a focal length and what a aperture is. So I had to do it this way. But I was just like,
well, hang on, I'll just show you my one now, and you'll see like how much neater it is compared to yours.
Look, I am a professor of madness. That's what I do.
I mean, look at this bad boy.
Yeah, let's have a look.
It's fucking delicious.
Oh, did you send it via something else?
Messenger.
Oh, I moved to this chat thinking that's where you
No. I've got it on my laptop now. Now I have my phone ready.
Okay, I feel it. This is nice. Yeah, This is a lot cleaner.
Yeah, I can like see what I'm doing with this one.
But yeah, again, with you get the final product. I give you like,
yeah, you've given me the rough copy, and it's
yeah,
pretty much saying, "Give me a clean copy of this," and I've
yeah.
done it.
And just to give you a reference again, just to give you a reference, this was supposed to be a cleaner version of this. This is the
No,
clean.
this is chaotic. This is actually cleaner. I mean, nah, yeah, this is cleaner. This is much cleaner.
Yeah, this is the ramblings of a madman.
This is
This is a professor that's like trying to like describe his mind, but he's like, kids, just keep up, just keep up.
it's like, if you can keep up with this, you pass.
You pass, yeah, you're fine. Okay, so I was talking about the different types of wide-angle lenses. So
Yeah.
you said everything under 35. Even though strictly speaking, it's really
Strictly
45, but
who says 45?
we say 35. If the largest thing is under 35. So there are other types of wide-angle lenses. We have the fisheye.
Everyone knows what fisheye is.
You got fisheye lens. You got macro lenses. There was a third one, but I can't remember right now. So fisheye lenses, you've seen it. I have a fisheye, the GoPro. Fisheye tend to be a really low rate, like it could be like 10 millimeters or 8 millimeters. These are like really, it's really close to the focal length is really close to the camera, which means you're getting a lot of it's a really wide lens, and a fisheye can go all the way to 180 degrees field of vision. That's what a fisheye is. The GoPro, as you know, like if you look at the GoPro video, you can like you see it's kind of like warped sometimes.
Yeah,
and if you look up and down, it's like
it's a bit like looking into a spoon, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much. I think I have. Here it is. You see like the distortion of the like here. This is the one. This is the you see like because you're really close to the object, right? The things on the outside are like kind of like warped. Yeah, that's because you're covering a lot of distance in a short plane. If I move further away, this would look normal. It's because of like the field of view that the human eye has is much shorter than what a fisheye is, which is why it looks distorted to us. But for a goat, this might look perfectly normal.
The goat's looking at everything like, yeah, this is pretty much it.
Fun fact about goat biology, right? They have their eyes and they have a slit. So they have a really wide aperture, but this slit moves in like any direction.
It twists.
Yeah. It's so cool. It's such a cool feature to have.
That's so weird. No wonder people refer to them as Satan.
So our eyeballs are like this, right?
Ours is round.
We have an iris. It's just the aperture opens and closes. They have like a rotating. It's cool.
You turn a goat upside down and it's like, ha ha ha, joke's on you.
Yeah, man, goats are cool. So yeah, that's fisheye lenses, right? You've seen quite a few because like I have a GoPro. I don't have a DSLR fisheye, mainly because
why would you?
Well, I don't shoot like landscape. I'm not a landscape. I don't shoot tight spaces, so I'm never in like a hotel or like I'm not a real estate photographer. So like for me, a fisheye doesn't really make sense to me. They're really fun to have, which is why I have the GoPro. Yeah. The GoPro is my fisheye lens, which is why I don't have another one. Even though the GoPro's camera and resolution is slightly less than a DSLR, but that's fine. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with not having I have two fisheye lenses. I have the 360 camera as well. It has two fisheye lenses inside.
Yeah. So you don't need to like do the turning around and everything like that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the other thing. So if I had a fisheye lens, whenever we go to a place, I wouldn't have to, because like remember like when I was in Disneyland, I had to take like 40,000 photos in a certain.
No, I remember when we were. It was the first or second day when we were going to see a shrine.
Yeah.
And you just stood in the middle of everyone, just going.
Yep. Yeah, it was
turn around 10 minutes later, and you're like about halfway through, like.
Yeah. So if you, because I was using a wide angle lens, right? So I had to take 16 photos. If I had a fisheye, I'd only have to take 4. So that's the advantage of having a fisheye. But I don't need that much information in a photo, especially when there's 5 of us. Actually, a fisheye would have been really good for the 5 of us. Why don't I have? Oh, because I can't afford one. I was thinking about reasons, because like I'm trying to justify why I don't have a fisheye, but the truth is I just can't afford one. Let's hit up Amazon. Let's have a look.
Oh, here we go.
Let's have a look. Like, what's the cheapest? If anything weird comes up on here, I'm sorry. My search history is not the greatest. Nikon fisheye. Oh, I can afford one. I didn't know about the optical one.
Oh, they're not that.
This is a good exercise. This is a good exercise.
Oh, wait, go down a little bit, and you see 585.
Yeah, let's not talk about that one for a second. All right. So this lens, right? What? It's 6.5 millimeters and 3.5. What is it?
Right, one more time. Sorry. Right.
Pop quiz, mate.
6.5. It's Let's go to the chart.
Yeah.
It is a prime wide-angle lens.
Oh, yes. I am proud.
It's essentially, I just need to look at it as if it's got one number and one number, it's a prime wide angle. Well, no, it's a prime. Yeah, I get it. Don't worry.
I wrote that for you right now.
It's like when I have like, because the way I like figure out things in my head, when I start to say it out loud, it just sounds a mess.
Okay.
But in my head, it's like, oh, it makes perfect sense. So even when I'm like saying it out loud, I'm like, I get it.
Okay, so this lens, what is it?
It is a prime telephoto.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. You got it. So now you absolutely know the difference between telephoto and aperture.
Telephoto, wide angle, normal, very aperture.
Yeah.
Because you can have like a prime, normal, zoom, variable, aperture, wide angle, stuff like that.
Yep. You got this.
I got it.
Okay, so we can close this. This is aperture stuff. Okay, so this is the final other lens that is a wide angle lens. This is a macro lens. Macro lenses are by far the coolest lenses that I don't own. I like fisheyes, but I own a fisheye. I own a macro lens as well. However, why don't I use the macro lens? Oh, yes. Because that macro lens is actually just an attachment rather than the actual, like a proper macro lens. So it's an attachment.
It's an add-on.
It's a glorified magnifying glass. Macro lenses allow you to take really close photos of things.
That's pretty cool.
Really close. And the good thing about micro lenses is if you take a photo of something that's really small from a reasonable distance, so like the same distance you would take of another person, the small thing looks big.
Yeah.
So like
perfect for taking nudes.
let's not bring the micro dick into this. But
we're cutting too deep.
close
to home.
Close to that. So toy photography, macro lenses. Just I have. Oh yeah, actually, I have.
So like let's say pictures of Nendroids, macro lens.
Yes, I even have an example of an album. If I go back to son of a chicken.
Land of the Free.
Yeah, I genuinely like my album names. I really spend a lot of time in the.
Yeah, but I'm not thinking like in these days. Nah, it's not.
It's still the free. You'll just be
the free and white.
You'll just. I did not say that. You did. Just
it's okay. I'm white. I can say it.
You say that now. What am I looking for?
Toys, macro lens toys picture.
Oh yes, absolutely. Should it be in Alibaba's cave?
Alibaba.
It could be in Alibaba's cave. I hate looking through this album.
It's her, isn't it?
Just
hey, what's this old school picture I just saw of me?
Which one?
Long hair beanie. Was it me? It looked like me. I saw long hair and beanie. I figured it was me. Is that me?
It was you.
Oh shit, that's Amanda.
Yeah, man, a long time.
Shit, man.
I just realized I cropped out her friend. Is she? Yep. Savagery, man.
Who was that?
No, like her friend was there as well.
Oh yeah, I remember her.
I remember her boots for some strange reason.
Bare long time.
Bare long. What am I looking for? Amiibo.
Oh, Amiibos, yeah, of course.
Yeah, Botoru Katana.
Botoru no Katana.
Oh, here it is.
Yeah, macro lens is perfect.
Yeah, so it's just like if I had a macro lens, this would look hella nice. But like I only have a wide angle, so this is the best I could do. But
like, Luigi popping in front there.
Yeah, man, you got it. Luigi is always number one for me, man.
Big old nose, big old schnoz.
Yeah, this is another example of actually focal length. Focal distance, actually, right? You can see Mario's in focus, but Luigi isn't.
But Luigi isn't. Yeah, I was like kind of looking at it and I noticed it. It's only very slight, but you can tell the difference.
And these are the techniques. This is the perfect thing that leads into aperture, which is the next thing we're going to talk about. Aperture. We've been waiting. This is the second goddess, the goddess of light. Right.
We're about 2 years in. Now we're getting to the second part.
We're finally getting to the second shrine.
This is exactly my Breath of the Wild experience.
like
second divine beast, and I'm like 50 hours in.
So we know the ratio is like 1 and then number 3.5, for example, right? I had to pick the slowest way to erase. Yeah. Oh well. That is called the aperture, and that number is that 1 over number is called the f-stop, which means that aperture is actually that 3.5 is f3.5. The f, and then you got the f 5.6. So it's f3.5 to f5.6. So when you hear photographers talk about the f-stop, that's the aperture. So f3.5, f5.6, f1.2, f2.0. That's, he said, as an American. F2 is what the Brits say. We don't say the 0.0 part because that's not in British vernacular.
I mean, no, I would say 2.0. Yeah, if it's in front of me, I'll say it.
I know, but that's a thing that we've adopted from the Americans. The original Brits would say 2.0, if anything.
Oh
yeah. The O came from America. It's been adopted.
2.0, man.
We got Destiny 2.0, man. That's awesome.
This is the beta 2.0. Next 3.0.
Yeah,
the week after that, maybe 5.0. We'll see, man.
So yeah, when I was saying earlier, I did actually decide to bring us a chart this time. This is what aperture looks like, right?
Okay.
The smaller the number, obviously the smaller the ratio,
The bigger the hole.
the bigger the hole.
Huh. Okay.
This is the most confusing part for everyone, right? They always think the bigger the number, the bigger the hole. Nope, small number, big hole, because it's a ratio. A quarter of something is bigger than wait, hold on. Let's not use that analogy. That's gonna complicate things. Smaller number, big, it means bigger aperture. That's all you need to write down. Small number.
The smaller the number, bigger hole.
And this is where the goddess comes in. We talked about the goddess earlier, the three goddesses, and this goddess is the goddess of light. This goddess, the goddess of light, has to appease the sensor, and it does this by collecting lights by increasing or decreasing the amount. You are not again, Adobe. Chill.
Adobe's like, love me, please.
Yeah, I know. It's like every hour it's just like, hello, it's me again. F1.4 is a really wide aperture, and when you have that wide of an aperture, you also have a
so if I'm looking at the screen on the camera, that 1/125 is the aperture, right?
If you're looking at the screen,
like I've got my ISO 6400, no, yeah. f8.0, that's the aperture.
That's the aperture, yes.
How do I change the aperture? Let me see now.
Oh, here we go. I got this. Okay, so I brought up the manual. So if you
the one I've got, yeah.
Yeah.
Correct exposure, no. Because I can see it on the screen. Okay.
Can you go up and down on the dials?
Up and down on the dials.
As in, can you select? You see this when you press the info button when you're in the shooting mode.
Oh yeah, info.
Can you select either aperture? Can you select the f4.0? Are you on M right now?
Yeah. Well, it has the M and the. I'm on the 1/15 at the moment.
No, I'm talking about the dial at the top. Is it on M?
Dial at the top. Oh, yes.
Yes. You're on M, yes? Which is manual priority. We'll come back to that after I finish the trilogy. Can you, when you use the dial, can you change the when you spin the dial, does it change the 1/15 number, like the 1/, number?
Flash off manual. Hang on. Aperture priority. Now it's what the fuck? 0.4 inches, I guess.
Wait, what?
Hang on. Shutter priority.
Okay, shutter priority.
Okay, now it's.
We need aperture priority more than anything.
Oh, yeah, aperture priority.
Yep.
Oh, now it can let me spin the dial.
Yeah, because manual should allow you to change IS. So let's look at all the. So you have TV. Wait, hold on. What are the dials on your camera again?
M, AV, TV, SV, P.
There we go. So, if you move to SV,
SV,
and then try to change the dial, what changes?
The ISO.
Okay.
And then the number on top changes with it as well.
The 1/, something, right?
Yeah, the Orno 1.6. Now it's because there is no 1 over now. It's only. Oh, okay, yeah, it is the 1 over thing. But then as I like,
your
I
ISO
think
set, your ISO
I
set
know.
to your ISO set to auto. So
Yeah, but it's like when I'm moving the camera around, the 1 over changes.
the 1 over changes. Hold on.
Yeah, if I'm like looking at something, I think it changes itself.
Just give me a second. Let me just look at what SV actually means on this camera. Flash off, scene mode, night, info, exposure mode. That's noise reduction. That's not what I want. I completely forgot how like savage that shutter is.
Shutter is like.
It sounds so good, especially when you put it to high shooting mode. And it's like. Okay, let me find SV.
Okay.
Oh, that's sensitivity priority mode.
Oh, I could have told you that because it tells me before it comes up.
Oh, fair enough. The sensitivity priority mode is it prioritizes the sensitivity to light, so everything changes.
Yeah. As soon as I look around, it's changing.
So
Constantly.
The 3 things that you need to worry about, I guess in this case, would be M, which M allows you to change shutter speed, aperture, and ISO if you set the ISO to manual. TV allows you to TV is shutter priority.
Yeah.
So when you go to we'll come to TV next. Now that I know how your camera works, okay, I can go back to my list.
Okay, so this is like those settings are for like quick, easy access to each specific thing.
Yeah. So the trilogy is effectively AV, TV, and SV.
SV.
Yeah. M is everything. M
is program.
M is the Triforce. So program was what I was telling you you would be on if you didn't know the trilogy, but if you do know the trilogy, you can kind of go.
Yeah, now that I'm starting to learn it, I can.
You can go into the other ones. So set your thing to AV, and you now know that the smaller the number, the bigger the aperture, the more depth of field.
Smaller the number. Mine goes down to 4.5.
Yes. Right now,
the highest it goes up to is
at 22.
32.
32.
32.
Fantastic. Okay, so the reason why it's going only down to f4 point something is because you're probably in a dark room.
It's like it's it's got the lamp, but it's not that bright.
Yeah. Pointed. And what's your focal length at the moment?
35.
Okay, push it down to 18.
Okay.
And then try spinning it even further down.
Oh, down past where I could do 3.5 now.
You see, that was the maximum your lens could go.
Okay.
You've learned.
I have learned. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I'm like zoomed out.
Yeah.
It can obviously let in more light. Then when I'm zooming in, the hole is smaller, so I can only let in so little light. Okay.
There's a mathematical formula for that.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's like is it P over square root of P?
All right, let me write that down because that's quite handy. The further I'm zoomed out, the bigger the aperture.
But it depends on whether you're in low light situation or not. But if you're outside and you have a lot of light, it will probably go down all the way to 3.5.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, you got it?
Yep.
So that's the aperture. So I'll let you try this out like when it's daytime, or you can even try it out now, right?
Maybe I'll try it tomorrow.
Okay, so this is a this is a wide aperture shot, right? The subject in the background is blurred out. The thing in the front is focused in, so you're effectively isolating the thing that you want to take a photo of. So if you look at the number, right, it's f5.6 at 47, but so like the isolation is pretty wild, but obviously you can still see the person in the back. Like you can still figure out that that's a person. If you look at this background, right?
What is that? Yeah, it's
this
like
is
what the hell's behind that?
1.8, right? And it's just like, it's just balls of light. The balls of light are called bokeh. Bokeh is a Japanese concept. Then you can Google it. But bokeh is what most photographers strive for. They want like, you want to isolate your subject in such a way that they are in focus and everything in the background is like an oil painting. That's why like everyone goes for like these beautiful lenses. So this was shot at 1.8, and you can tell like the when you're looking at the people, your eye is fixated on the people, not the background.
Because you can't discern what it is in the background, so your subconsciously is like not even bothering with that.
Yeah, you can also use bokeh in a different way, right? This is also shot at 1.8, but instead of using bokeh to completely blur out the background, right? You use bokeh in such a way where Adrian is super crisp at the front, right? But everything behind him is blurred out. So like it gives context of where he is, but to the point of you're just painting an environment, and he exists in it, so that he's the isolated object. And I think there's another one here with 1.8.
Bokeh.
Yeah, actually, yeah, bokeh. You can see like you see these balls of light just forming. That's bokeh in the background.
That's hella bokeh.
Yeah.
No, this one as well. The one before that is hella bokeh.
Yeah. But this is also the same. A shot at 1.8. Bokeh is like you're isolated, you're clean, you're sharp. And then when you look at this, and like if you look at this as a difference, right? This is like a shot like the things.
Everything is the main attraction of the picture.
Yeah, because like you want, like, this is a landscape, right? So that's bokeh in a nutshell. So I got this is for later.
This is a teaser.
That's a teaser, yeah. So that is Aperture. Aperture is controlling light so that you control not only the light that's just around you, but the light that is in the background. So you get your beautiful bokeh, and also you have more control over the light. So an f1.4 aperture lens will perform better at night than an f3.5.
Yeah,
because it can let in more light.
So you can see everything in the picture.
By letting in more light, you also reduce the need to have a high ISO, which means your picture is cleaner. You see the symbiotic relation.
I get it now. I get it.
There's now the last thing, my favorite thing on the planet. Oh, the other thing. I also in the absence when you left. So your Huawei
has the exact same thing as this.
Has a wide angle and a telephoto lens, right? You know, when you take, you know that mode, if you go to the camera, I can't remember the name of the mode. If you go to the camera on the Huawei, right?
Yeah.
If you look at the top or the second icon,
aperture one.
Yeah, boy. When you click on the aperture and you take a photo of something, it creates a depth of field, like a high depth of field, because you're blurring out the background. Right? It does this by actually, you know what? Take a picture of something.
With the phone, yeah?
Yeah, with the phone.
Just in normal mode?
In aperture mode.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you go into the gallery.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you click on the aperture button.
Oh, yeah. It will then let me select parts of it.
You can also you can select the slider and slide it up and down.
Oh, and then it lets in more of it can be focused or less of it can be focused. That's
yeah, and you can see it says either f1.8 or that's practical photography right there.
Oh, this goes to f0.95.
Yeah, apparently it does. Apparently it does. And the reason why it can do such a wide aperture is because it uses the wide angle lens to take a photo of the person, the thing that is 2 meters away, because that's the ideal focal length, like 2 meters away, and use the telephoto lens to take a picture of the background. So the wide angle lens is like f1.8 and the telephoto lens is f2 point something. It's a really cool mathematical way of like coming up with a way to create bokeh. And bokeh. So finally comes down to shutter speed. Shutter speed is
your fave.
Dope AF.
This is where you can do the like when you took a picture of the road and you saw the lights just glisten through.
Yes. You know it. So when at the beginning we talked about this, right? The shutter button. And you're like, what's a shutter?
What the hell is a shutter?
Well, let me educate, right?
Educate me.
So when you press the shutter, like take a photo with the camera.
Oh, I need to take the cap off, obviously.
Oh yeah, that helps.
Yep.
You hear that noise?
Yeah, that's the shutter.
That is not only the shutter, but that's the shutter. Let me tell you right now. Shutter's beautiful. So behind the shutter is the sensor. Right? The shutter is like the ultimate stage play. Imagine there's a play. Right? And you got the audience. Right? And imagine this play. This play is like a fantastical play. It's a light show. It's just like strobes everywhere.
Yeah.
Like
raving it up.
Like lights everywhere, right? That the show is the real world. The audience is the sensor. So let me just. And with every show, you have a set of curtains. Right, this is the show. You have 2 curtains, right? And you know, like in every stage show, sometimes they just have 1 curtain that drops down from the top. But in this case, this show has 2 curtains. So whenever like they don't want to show the show anymore, they close the curtains. Are you with me?
Yeah. I'm just listening. I'm watching as well.
Okay, cool. Because I heard like a spring noise, and I was like, okay. So when light comes, using the shutter, the curtain analogy, right? When light comes in, the curtains close based on they close. The show is only for a matter of seconds, or it could be longer than a second. But for the most part, the show is in a matter of seconds, and we say, so like 1 second is like the baseline, and 1/50 is 1/50th, 1/50th of a second.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what the 1/50 means.
That's how much.
That's how much time the curtain stays open.
Yeah.
And the way it happens is, this is curtain number 1, curtain number 2. Right? Curtain number 1 closes. Like the curtain number 1, like, so imagine like this is a sequence of events. Both curtains are closed at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then curtain number 1 opens while curtain number 2 is closed.
Mm-hmm.
1 opens. And when 1's fully opened, curtain number 2 opens.
Okay, 1's fully open. That's when the other one starts to open.
Yeah, it opens, and it does it in a 50th of a second.
Okay.
When this is open, curtain number 1 closes, and then curtain number 2 follows right after.
Okay.
So you hear that. It's effectively, so if we go to shutter priority mode.
Yep.
And then spin it to, let's say, 1/20th of a second.
Yep.
And then take a shot. It's still too fast. All right, 1/15th of a second. You hear that? You hear the two curtains.
It's slowing down.
You hear the 2 curtains closing though.
Mm.
Like you hear. If
I drop it to 1/8, let's see. Yeah.
You hear it, right?
Mm.
It's curtain number 1, curtain number 2 closing. So that is you controlling the time of when the amount of time that the sensor gets to see light.
Mm.
The problem is the slower, the closer you go to 1, or even slower than 1, the more light gets into your camera. The more it gets into your camera, the more visual information gets sent to the sensor. So every little vibration is noticeable. So that's why when you shoot at 1/15th of a second, you see the camera shake, which is why like you kind of have to use a tripod. The general rule of thumb is whatever your focal distance you're shooting at, you should shoot at 2 times. Wait, hold on, let me see. Yes, whatever the focal distance you're shooting at, you shoot 2 times the focal distance.
Okay.
So if you're at 18 millimeters,
you shoot at 35 or 30.
1/30th of a second. Wait, what's 18 times 2?
It's 36.
36.
But it won't have 36, so 35 or 30.
No. What's the one up? You don't round down, you round up. What's
40.
The next? 40?
40.
But this is not your. You look at the it gets complicated, but for me, I find that you look at the largest number. So if it's a 55, you shoot at
120.
Yeah.
Oh no, 110. Sorry.
Is there 120? 110. Around this range. You shoot around 100 ish. 2 times that information. That's what like you look at the largest number and then you shoot at that. Obviously you have to just play around with the shutter speed to see like where you can hold it, because like if it's a really light lens, you might be able to get away with 1/50th of a second. Because I find I can shoot at 1/50th of a second with the lens you have. I mean, I shot this at okay, so that's a special case. Yeah, these are all special cases. Because I had a tripod for each one of those. No, I didn't have a tripod. Okay, so the faster the shutter speed, so like let's say you have a 1/1000th of a second, right? You can easily hold that. Like the shutter is moving too quickly for you to your body movement to be picked up, and because like the higher the number, it does something sneaky where instead of opening and closing the shutter, it's just they happen at the same time. You know, like I was saying, you like one open, second open, and then one closes, second closes.
You're just adjusting the speed at which that happens.
No, they happen at the same time.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, when it's like impossible shutter speeds, because like mechanically speaking, from a mechanical engineering perspective, you can't open and close and close and open, close and close, open and open, close and close in like a 1/5000th of a second. Like we don't have the engineering able to handle the heat that speed would generate. So the easiest way to fool the system is to just have like one beam, like one beam of a curtain just going up and going down. So it's just like imagine you have 2 curtains and you're just pulling them together, and the closer the closer the curtains are together as you're pulling them together is replicating a faster shutter speed.
Yeah. Okay.
So the reason why I like this one is controlling time is for me the coolest part. Like a lot of people do like controlling aperture. I don't know any non-nerd that
I feel like the shutter speed is easier to kind of figure out as well.
Oh yeah, 100%. So I was going to show you this, right?
Bear with me 1 second. I need a tinkle.
Yeah,
Speaking of tinkle.
Go. Right, as we sort that out, I can also have a look at these pictures. What did I shoot this at? 17 millimeters at 1/60th of a second at ISO 6400. There's a lot of noise, but at 3.5, it's not bad. Also, I was shooting at 1/60th of a second, which is probably the fastest I can do with this particular lens. It's a lot noisier than I'd like it to be, but at the same time, the noise isn't where the subject is, and that's what's most important. This is the heart of gaming. Heart of Gaming closed down from its original location in Acton. Was it in Acton? I really should have had a map back then. I didn't know how to tag things on the map. But now it's moved to East London, I believe. That's a thing.
Talk to me.
Oh no, I was just killing time. I did shoot this at 1/50th of a second. Okay, cool. This was a noise picture. Okay, so time travel. I shot this at 1/5000th of a second.
So you can see like individual raindrops
You
falling.
can see individual raindrops. How baller is this?
That's
man?
pretty cool.
It's so cool.
Like the quicker the shutter speed, the more you stop time, pretty much.
Yes. However, here's the caveat. The quicker the shutter speed, the darker the photo.
Picture. Yeah.
Because obviously you're not feeding light to the almighty sensor. So to use higher shutter speeds, you have to be in a well-lit place. You can't use a really high. So that's the reason why we dip to slower shutter speeds. Slower shutter speeds are for low light situations, if you want to have it that way. And the benefit of having a really slow shutter speed is the next photo I'm about to show you. Star photography. Right? You're slowing down that shutter speed. This is at 30 seconds, not 1/30th of a second. 30 actual seconds. Yeah, 30 seconds, but you get information that you yourself, your eyes cannot see. And it's amazing because like the stars in the sky are obviously sending information, but obviously because of ambient information, we tend to zone that out. Unless the only way to see what I saw in this photo is for literally you to stand outside for about 30 minutes for your eyes to adjust to the ambient light, and you start to notice a lot more stars, but you will never see the number of stars. Because just to give you a reference, the sky looks blue here, but it was pitch black outside. Well, there was a little bit of red and some orange coming in from the street lights, as you can see, but it was amazing. And you know it's a long shutter speed because of the streak of light,
which was a shooting star.
No, that's the Earth. That's the Earth spinning. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. That's actually very, very cool.
That's super awesome. And you live in the place where you can see the stars every night, or maybe, I believe, I don't know, you can see stars. And
I see stars.
If you just sit outside, honestly, like one time, you take the hound, you take the tripod, you mount the thing, and you set it to 1/30th of a second. You drop the ISO to around 100 to 800.
I need to mend this tripod though.
I know it's a sham. I bought you another one, so it's fine.
You bought me another one.
It's okay. It's okay.
Well, I mean, oh god, yeah, this thing's
yeah, because immediately you were like, I'm into photography. I'm like, you're getting a tripod, mate.
Tripod.
I'm facilitating. Yeah. Yeah, it's right next to me actually. So yeah, so ISO is low. You put the ISO on the other end of the spectrum, so towards 100, mainly because you don't want noise. You don't want like artificial noise because you're compensating with the shutter speed. And I'm using a not too small and not too wide aperture, because you don't want it to be too wide where you're like blurring out things, but you don't want it to be too small where you're not taking enough light.
Here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah, you're not taking in enough light, which is where the trilogy comes in. This is where, like, now that you've got everything, here's the fun thing. Here's the math. Here's the math, right? This is the coolest part. Let me add a thing, right? So let's say you have, this is the f-stop, right? f1.8, f2.0, f2.4, f2.8. These are just random numbers, right? Like it might be different on yours. So 1/50th. What's next? 1/100th. Is there anything between that?
Oh god, let me turn it on. So you got 1/50th.
180, 1/60th, 1/70th, 1/80th.
150, 160, 180, 100.
Yeah. 180, 100. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and ISO 100, 200, 400, 800, right? So on and so forth, right?
Me? What?
No, it's me. It's me.
I was yeah, I'm just fiddling with the tripod thingy.
Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You can play around with it. Okay, you ready? You ready for some cool stuff, right?
Okay, what am I looking at?
Let's say you shoot at 2.0, right? At 180, at 400, right? Let's say this photo, like for your situation, your EV meaning your exposure value. You can actually control this as well. Like, it looks like this. There should be a 0, and it goes to -1 or minus something, and it goes to +1. And then there's like, it should be like that on your camera, but I can't remember. Like, this exposure value is just like how dark or how bright your photo is going to be exposed. You can control that manually, right? So you've shot this at these settings, right? This gives you a plus. This gives you a zero exposure. Like, it's the perfect exposure, right? It's not too bright. It's not too dark, right? Let's choose a different color. So now, goddamn. Just hear the tripod being like fiddled with.
Yeah, because I've never properly fiddled with this.
Okay.
Because obviously you had got a new one. You're just like, hey, here, you can have this. But
okay, so here we go. So now the blue. Are you with me?
Okay, the blue, yes.
All right, so the red is shot at f2.0, 1/80th of a second, and 0. It gives you an exposure value of 0, right?
Okay.
You've shot this at 20th of a second, 100th of a second, and 400, giving you, this is just hyperbole. Let's say it gives you -1.
Okay.
Okay. If you shoot this at f2.4, f1.8, and and ISO 100, you got the EV of -1, because you're just increasing one factor. And the final thing is, let's say yellow, you shoot this at 2.0, you shoot it at this, and you shoot it at ISO 200, you have -1.
Okay.
So theoretically, right, you change one of these, the exposure value will, like, to compensate for. So what I'm trying to say is, to compensate for, and so let's say you really want to shoot at 1.8, right? All you just need to do is either change the shutter speed to a slower shutter speed, like 1/50, and the ISO to 800, or 1/60th and then 1/1600 to get the same exposure, right? So if you ever, like, that's the good thing about the trilogy is each of them affect each other, right? And they're all codependent. So if you change the ISO, the exposure will be dropped down. But if you slow down the shutter speed, the exposure is then brought back to 0. It's just a matter of just balancing the thing that you want. So if you put it to this is why there's the three modes. There's the shutter priority, aperture priority, and sensitivity priority. Sensitivity being the focus being on ISO, shutter being shutter speed, and aperture priority being aperture, obviously. So let's say you want to shoot at 3.4, right?
Mm-hmm.
What the camera will automatically start to control is the ISO and the shutter speed to get to that setting. So if you want to change the shutter speed and you set the shutter speed, if you're on shutter priority, the camera will automatically compensate for ISO and aperture. And if you put it to sensitivity priority, it will change the aperture and the shutter speed. And when you put it to manual, you're controlling all three of them yourself. You're not using the camera's inbuilt kind of configuration to try to sort your life out.
Mm-hmm.
So shutter for me, when I first started, I was always on shutter priority because controlling the shutter speed is much more of a feasible task than trying to control the aperture, especially if you have a small, like you don't have a lens that has a wide aperture, because like yours goes all the way to 3.4. So like you don't really have that much control over like the smaller lights. That's why I stick to more towards the shutter priority. And then I just had it on SV until I got used to like controlling shutter speeds. And then I moved on from that.
Okay.
But that's it. That's the trilogy in a nutshell.
And then to really get a master of it, it's just now a matter of practicing and figuring out what works with this and that and the other.
Exactly. You just have to do trial and error, like see the shutter speed, and like if you're interested in a shot, like you can always ping me. So now I've talked about the biology of photography. I've talked about the mathematics of photography. I think I didn't do too much math. I tried to avoid the math because like it's a lot to take in a short amount of time, I guess.
The math might jumble it up a bit more as well.
Exactly. That's why I wanted to avoid that. And the final thing I want to do is the art of photography. So stuff like this, right? You see this photo.
It's a woofer.
You see this photo and you're like, this is aesthetically pleasing. And
because it's not just the dog that's focused on, it is the vicinity around it, and then the background is blurred.
Yes, that's more the science of it. There's also like the framing, right? There's something there's a guidance thing that's called the rule of thirds. The rule of thirds kind of dictates that things that exist photographs tend to be because of their 16:9 or 4:3, the rectangular nature makes it so the human brain kind of segments it into groups of 3, and it's split into 9 columns. And the reason why this photo is aesthetically pleasing is the things that are interesting, like the eye, the blue eye, the heterochromia, sits within one of the boundaries. And also the ear is like between 3 boundaries. You got this within like its own cell, so like you have this within its own box. You have the things in the foreground, like the things in the foreground like are interesting just because of like how they are aligned. The things in the background are things in the background, so like it's very methodical in like in what is called the rule of thirds, effectively using grid lines to position your subject. So if your subject is sitting within 1 or 2 grid lines, like if they fall into that, like that's aesthetically pleasing. On the other hand, like having a subject all in one area or one situation, that's also aesthetically pleasing. So if we close this, this is just me. This was to explain long exposure photography, you can do really cool stuff.
Yeah.
You can do really cool stuff.
You know what's missing from that picture?
What? The
PS2. PS2.
Yeah. This was gonna be this was another concept. Oh yeah, this is double exposure. What did I want to show you? Oh, rule of thirds. Oh, okay. Let me find a photo that I can clearly demonstrate this.
What was that? Snow in England? What the fuck?
Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. Where can I? Yeah.
Oh, that hot dog looks fucking peng.
Oh hell yeah! That's when TGI back in the day when TGI used to do the hot dogs, man.
Oh, I actually had a hot dog from Ed's Diner. That was a really good hot dog.
That's a legit hot dog.
That was a really, really good hot dog.
That's a legit hot dog. Let me find one. Actually, I can just use Willie's wedding because like I used. Here we go. Yeah, actually, these two photos kind of follow that. Just if you imagine there was the grid lines, right? You can see that the subject is in the second half of the grid, right? The first half, and then the things that on the side are just left to the wayside. That's another way of like doing, like, it's, if you look at the dog, like it's the same kind of phrasing, but it's just reversed. The dog is on the right side instead of the left.
Yeah.
See, there's like all of this space like use, because that by using multiple grid lanes, you effectively put more focus on the subject. It's just how the stupid brain works. And then you can have them in the center, and then everything else is like non-information. And then this is just like when you have a group. But you can see like with this one, it's like the perfect example of rule of thirds. You got these people on the left, these people on the right, and this guy directly in the middle. Like this is like, I cropped it and like I phrase it so that it's aesthetically pleasing. This is the art of photography. This is like making things aesthetically pleasing. And because I can't just justify art because something's aesthetically pleasing, I have to put math in it. This is this is a Fibonacci.
I've seen this in many a meme.
Really?
Yes.
This is the Fibonacci. The Fibonacci spiral, or the golden ratio. Which is, let me try to remember this. The golden ratio. It's, God damn it. What is it called again? No, golden spiral. That's what it's called. The golden spiral is, where am I? Let's call it, so the golden ratio, or I think it's called R. Last time I saw it, it's phi to the power of delta. Phi to the power of delta 2 over pi. Yeah. It's a complicated thing, right? It's complicated, but the theorem is you could continuously keep looping forever, and it will never it will always make this shape. So you'll keep looping into this, and it'll, like, as you zoom into that loop, it will just keep on making this shape. It will just keep on doing this.
It will just keep repeating its process
forever. It will never approach zero. And just like, to use the math behind it, Mona Lisa, because Mona Lisa is the Mona Lisa is the most aesthetically pleasing, because art theorem, dude, everywhere. Art theorem everywhere. The framing, like her face, like you can literally reverse this photo, put it against it, and use her eyes. It will work. Mona Lisa is aesthetically pleasing because it uses the Fibonacci. It uses Fibonacci numbers. And it's really, yeah, that's just the math behind the art, because I need reasoning to things working, because that's how my brain works. And that's it, man. That's all I have for you. You know, the rest is you to going out and experimenting and enjoying life with the.
Now that I've got a lot of context and stuff, I think I'm gonna be a bit braver and going into it now.
Yeah,
because I have the knowledge to do it.
Yeah, my
I just walk out and be like, okay, what do I do here now?
my advice has always been, if you have a camera, like, to try to take a photo every day.
Yeah.
Because the one thing that you never actually really think about is the amount of information that your brain omits. Because I know, like, when people take photos, like when they start taking like delving into the world of photography, they take a photo, and then when you get home, or when they're starting to review it, like a few hours later, start to see things that they didn't realize. And the classic example of this is when like young kids, or like just people that never really take selfies, take a selfie in their bedroom and then post it online, and then like a few hours later you realize like there's a lot of like clutter in your room. And it's just like, because the brain sees that every day, like it's omitted, but like, when you do take the photo, it's just like, there's stuff in my room and I just didn't realize there was the stuff in my room. And that's just how the brain works. The brain is the ultimate deceiver. So taking photos makes you think about makes you like actively think about things that are in the scene. And I call this the photographer's eye, because you know, I have to always have a superhero kind of name to things. Once you get the photographer's eye, like, it, for me personally, I find life becomes more like,
pleasing.
you find more, you find more purpose, because like you're always actively looking to find something interesting, rather than leaving your brain to have everything as the mundane thing that they are. Like, you start to see like differences in the buses. Like, I can tell that it's a 114 or a 358 just by the shape of the bus.
Yeah.
And it's something that you wouldn't see otherwise. Or like, you can see like, I remember, like, you started taking photos of birds, but like, you were clearly taking different photos of different birds. It was the same bird over and over again. So yeah, photographer's eye. Hone it. Become like Yu-Gi-Oh! Master it. I'm the hero, and just like click in the back. It just makes me so happy. Yeah.
I mean, because like now that I've got that knowledge,
Yeah.
I can take a picture and I go, this doesn't look quite right. I know what to do to fiddle around to try and make it look a bit better.
Yeah.
Whereas before, I would make it would look bad, and I'd be like, well, I have no idea what to do now.
Yeah. And the last thing is just so that you can have a better context of it, of everything, right? Because like, I've been talked about, like, I was about to even mention this. I've been talking about metering, which is like the focusing. I've been talked about.
I think the most difficult thing with taking pictures with the camera is that when you do it with your mobile, you can have the picture, like before taking the picture, you can see what the picture will look like before you take the picture. Whereas on the camera, you have to pretty much just see that, take the picture, look at it, and go, that's not quite right. Okay, fiddle around. You have to keep doing trial and error.
That's the interesting part, right? This is actually currently my dilemma. Let me go to Amazon. What version of Amazon is that? I was like, Amazon.2. No, Amazon.com, please.
Amazon 2.0.
UK. All right, so I have a D7100. This is Selena.
Selena.
I can assure you it was not this price when I got Selena. as much.
Was it? Is this cheaper or more expensive?
It was definitely more expensive. This
Oh,
is
really? Oh, yeah, because I can see it was before it was 850.
that was this year. It was higher than that at one point.
Oh, God.
So that's Selena, right? Selena is the same camera that you have, like the same type of camera you have. It has a optical. It has an optical viewfinder, which means that what you see is like what you see like when you look into the camera is a vision of it's what you see is what you get, like what you're looking at is actually the world, not what the camera is going to do with the photo.
Yeah.
If you put it to live view and then take the photo, you'll find that what you see is what you get.
Okay, that's kind of cool then.
I tend to not use live personally. Honestly, this is just bad practice on my part, but like also the purist in my head as well. I tend to not use live view because it eats battery a lot quicker.
Yeah, that's understandable.
That's the one thing. That's why like it's bad practice on my part because like because the Pentax KX used real batteries, like chewing through those batteries was always a pain because
let's have a look at how much battery this thing's got now. If it will tell me. Oh, it's got full battery still. It's okay. Then again, I only put the batteries in like an hour ago or something, and it's been on.
Oh no, yeah. You should get quite a few shots from that from a full set of battery. It should last you like 300 to 400 shots.
That's good then.
Yeah, you should be good. You should be good for that. So yeah, it's an optical viewfinder. So what you see is what the world is. It's not what the camera sees. But when you look at the screen, what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
Currently, my dilemma is the XT2. The XT2.
That is a beautiful camera, though.
I know.
That's a lot of money, though, for a camera.
The D7100 was around this price. The XT2 with the lens is more of what you see is what when you shoot what you'll get.
Okay.
It's an electronic viewfinder. It's actually a hybrid. It's both optical and electronic.
That's very cool.
It's cool, and at the same time, the problem with electronic, because it's an electronic, right? There's like a millisecond, delay when you like looking into the world. So like if you're panning, there's like this millisecond delay before like you see anything. But like because this is a hybrid, it's so good. So good. It's super light as well. That's my current dilemma. Same size sensor as Selena, but obviously it doesn't take as many shots because it's a lighter camera, and also because it's a new camera that doesn't. Because it's a new camera, it means that I'd have to reinvest in glass as well. And by glass, I mean the lenses. And you look at the XT2 X Fuji.
Yeesh, yeah, it's not even cheap to begin with.
I know. Like this is like a reinvesting in a whole ecosystem. So I was like, you know what? I don't need this camera. I can't afford it.
It's not even that you don't need it. You're just like, I can't physically get it.
I physically cannot get this. I can get it with one lens, but then I'd have to.
But then that one lens, it won't fill your needs.
I know. It will probably will fill my needs, but like it just means that building up the lenses over years again, because like then with the Nikon, I've built my lenses over a decade. So all my lenses have been bought like over a decade. If I go into Fuji, like assuming I sell my if I sell Selena, right, to get the Fuji, it means I can't use the perv lens unless I use the D90.
Hang on. With the lens you have now,
Yeah.
No matter what Nikon camera you get, those lenses will fit on that.
Yes. Ever since
Okay, that's good. That's good at least.
let's see. Actually, that's the other thing I forgot to give you. F mount lens. So with Nikon has been really good. Wiki.
Is it just like they have a universal fit on all their cameras?
So in 1959, Nikon introduced the Nikon F camera. This camera.
Mm-hmm.
And they've kept the mount as the same. So
okay.
From 1959 to now, you can use every Nikon glass.
See, that's very, very good.
On the DSLRs.
Mm.
If you go down the mirrorless cameras, you can't use any of the F mounts.
Well, yeah, but
so if you have an APS-C sensor, you can use the F mounts. Canon has a shorter period. It's around 20. No, it might be it's around 20 years. For because like they changed their lens type to an electronic mount, which has a lot more features. So yeah, the Canon Canon cameras also have a lot more features than Nikon cameras, but the ability to use a lens from 50 years ago is always so crisp.
Yeah.
Obviously, it won't be autofocus, but it's just like some of the glass from like years gone by. Like some of the glass is just amazing.
Yeah.
I can't afford it. I genuinely can't afford it. Because this is Adobe chill. Jesus Christ.
Adobe just wants love.
Yeah. Oh, the last thing. This actually depends on. So if you look at the lens cap,
Yes.
there should be number engraved in the lens cap.
52.
That's the diameter of the lens.
Okay.
The reason why that's important is
it has it on the inside of the lens as well. 52 millimeters.
Okay, cool. So that is the diameter, and it will allow you, if I go back to Amazon,
to find lenses of the same size.
Lens caps. If you want to buy new lens caps, also filters.
Oh, cool. Oh,
Yeah.
filters aren't even that much.
Yeah. So my favorite type of filter is a neutral density. The neutral density filter is really cool. What it does is it blocks light.
Yeah, it's just essentially not a dimmer, but
and it's variable, so you can rotate it.
Oh, that's cool.
So you can
oh yeah, I remember playing around with it.
I think I have one, right? Yeah.
You brought it with you to Tokyo.
Yeah. I brought and then you got UV filters as well. The good thing about UV filters, the reason why I like some UV filters, the variable ones anyway, is you can use like my biggest problem with shooting, like for example, like if you go to Tokyo, and actually more specifically, you go to Akihabara. I don't know which pronunciation.
It's Akihabara, isn't it?
I've heard some people say Akihabara.
I mean, it's like the same as people in English, isn't it? People speak.
Even Japanese people, just like I've never heard someone call it the same. I don't really.
Yeah, I mean, but it's the same with anything. People will just say things differently. It's dialects and accents and whatnot.
That's true. I appreciate this. But yeah, the problem is whenever you take a photo, the thing that is usually on the other side of glass. With UV filters, you can affect the amount of UV light that comes in. That means like reflection on glass, you can take them away.
With this as well, you can see it through the view, whatever thing. Light is coming through at that point as well, which is good.
Oh, I do actually have a filter, photo to show you the difference between the filter. It's like when I took these photos, I was doing it for like a future lesson or something. So we just need to go to the land of the free, which is the katana. Where's Land of the Free? Oh, he's here. It's right here. This is the. I don't know where it is actually. I know it's in my room somewhere, but I just genuinely don't know where it is. Give me a second. I'll be on a bus soon enough. Was it before or after? God damn it. I might have to work backwards. Damn it, it's between 3 and 4. God damn it. Fuck, it might actually be between 1 and 2. It's okay. It's okay, I'll get there. God damn it. It's the fun with trying to skip through photos. Are you serious? It's between 3 and 4? Which one is between 1 and 2? Hate life. What the hell? What the shit? Where's this photo? I swear to God, if it's between 1 and 2. I hate life. I hate life so much. Scroll slowly. Oh, this lens was so beautiful. Look at it. Could perv so much with that lens. Oh, here it is. What a stupid thing.
I can see it.
Yeah. So you get a more natural, like I turned it so like you can see like the more natural color of the bricks, and it because it's letting in more light through that, less light because it's going through. And this is just a UV filter. It's not a neutral density. Neutral density, like literally, can create black holes in photos. It's crazy, but yeah. It should be like 1:30 at your time, but you are now armed with the knowledge of photography.
I am ready. Put me in, coach. I'm ready.
You are ready. I'm expecting stellar photos from you. I need to be surpassed.
I'm gonna actually bring my camera to work next week, so I can actually see the sunrise, and then I can try and grab a picture of that.
Ooh, that'd be nice.
So that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I had the camera for that double rainbow, but this the phone camera isn't fucking impeccable though.
Yeah. It's a good camera, but like it gets to a point. Like, I remember like I literally had a shifting point where like I genuinely can't. Like I love my phone camera, but I honestly can't. I cannot say that I can use that phone camera for like day to day, unless it's just Instagram. Because even like when you look at the when you go on my Instagram and you look at the you can, it's absolutely obvious which photos are taken. Jesus Christ, so many likes today.
Mr. Popular.
Yeah, I know. It feels so nice. You can clearly tell the photos that are taken by my phone and the photos that are taken by a camera. Like it's just day and night. But yeah, life is like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Yeah. Now for you to sleep. Hold on. I just realized.
I'm on the night shift next week. I need to stay up until 5 again.
Oh, okay. I can keep chatting.
Not stay up, or not need to stay up, but I want to stay up. Because there's no point regulating my sleep pattern only just to go back Monday and be tired.
That makes sense. All right, this was Fundamentals 2. It's gonna be on the YouTube channel, as you know, so you can revisit your favorite part of my fun facts.
Well, that's good. I can just revisit it and get it all jotted down as well and have it ready.
Oh yeah, especially that that flow diagram that is just like, woo.
It's great because when you moved your mouse, it kind of like wiggled as well up.
I love it. Yeah, I did that. I did this. It's
like playing guitar.
Yeah, that is what infinite possibilities are. Hell yeah, let's get it. Let's go.
Chill beans.
All right, man.